Hi, everybody. Welcome to Dan on Sports, and I'm going to get right to it. Major League Baseball needs to make a major change, and that is expand the postseason, expand the playoffs. Why? Well, because of the interest. The interest involved in the postseason this year is skyrocketing. Now, you can make a strong case. One of the reasons the ratings are up is both New York teams are involved. You're talking about the number one television market in the country. I get it. And then you've got the number two television market involved in the country, involving Los Angeles. But even before that, in the early round of the playoffs, the wild card series, and then the divisional series, ratings were up. Now, the major league owners for a while have wanted to expand the postseason from 12 teams to 14 teams, and the Players Association has opposed that. They oppose it because they believe it will lower salaries for free agents. Owners will be reluctant to spend big on free agents because they figure all they have to do, even with their current roster or even with the signing of a fringe free agent, is make the postseason, and then they have as great a shot as going to the World Series as any other team. Maybe, maybe not. But you have to look at the overall game. Now, how do you handle an expanded postseason? Well, you do it by reducing the regular season. And I know that might sound like blasphemy to some, but right now the 162-game season, and I've felt this way now for decades, is just too long. It gets too tedious. You get to September, and the season is just dragging on while interest is turning to football. What baseball needs to do is maintain interest with an expanded postseason. So you cut the regular season from 162 games to 154 games, which is what it used to be, or even 140 games. And what you do with an expanded playoff season, whether it's from 12 teams to 14 teams, or do I dare say 16 teams, is start the postseason in the middle of September. That's when football is just getting going. The National Football League, college football starts a bit earlier, but you want to maintain that interest. And what better way to do that than to expand the playoffs and start it in mid-September? And then you wrap up your entire season by the third week of October. And that should be baseball's goal. You play the World Series in the third week of October. Right now, it's extending into November. And let's face it, even the most ardent baseball fan starts to lose interest come November. And it also is a strain on these teams. That is a long season from spring training, which used to start the second week of February for pitchers and now starts even earlier. You're starting the regular season in late March. That is a long season from early February all the way to early November. That's one of the reasons, by the way, you don't have repeat champions. For the team that goes all the way, for the two teams that play in the World Series, it is a long, long season. Baseball is a sport that drains on you for the players physically and mentally. That's too long a season. You start spring training third week of February, you go all the way to the third week of in October for the teams that go all the way, the two pennant winners, and you have yourself a season. You start your postseason in the middle of September, and you wrap it up in the third week of October. And that's another reason, by the way, that you need to adjust the schedule. You need to adjust the schedule because you get to the third week of October and you're playing in an eastern city, be it Boston, be it New York, be it Philadelphia. It gets cold. And you can make the case if you get a cold front, it could sweep all the way into the south so that even in Atlanta, it can get cold in the middle of October. So baseball, wake up. You've got a hot commodity. Ratings are up. More people are talking baseball. More people are interested in baseball, and one of the reasons is the postseason. You're making the games very important. I don't want to hear about what it was like in the old days. Well, you had two 10-team leagues. Those days are gone. Even the days of the championship series and then on to the World Series. Those days are gone. It's now a tournament, so acknowledge that it's a tournament. Baseball is going to add two more teams. They're going to expand by the end of the decade. So in order to maintain interest, and you can structure your financials in such a way that you're not going to lose money, that the Players Association is not going to be cheated out of its share, you structure it in such a way that you add the two teams, you expand the postseason from 12 to 14 teams, or do I dare say if you have a 32-team major league, from 32 teams to 16 teams for the postseason, and you create a tournament that starts in the middle of September and wraps up the third week of October. And you're going to have something. You're going to have interest. You're going to have games that really matter to the fans, even the casual fan. And look, if that's what baseball's trying to do in order to expand its footprint, appeal to the casual fan. You already have the ardent fan in the bank. The ardent fan is going to follow baseball. The ardent fan lives, breathes, and dies baseball. But if you want to expand your footprint, what you have to do is center your campaign around the playoffs. Make the playoffs so attractive that people are going to be tuned in. So that's what I am proposing. Expand to 2 teams, expand the playoff field, start the playoffs in the middle of September, and wrap the season up by the third week of October, and then you've got something. You've got a game that's going to appeal beyond the ardent fan. And let's face it, if baseball doesn't learn that lesson, particularly off of the interest that we are seeing in this postseason, you're missing a golden opportunity. As always, thanks for listening to and watching Dan on Sports. Enjoy the baseball playoffs. It's been quite a ride, and it's not over yet.